Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to Harry's Highlights. On this video, we're going to talk about the book Way of the Wolf. Now this is all about understanding influencing and persuasion. So, what I want to talk about here is that everything in life is some form of influence, some form of persuasion. No matter what it is you do. When you're a kid, there's a lot of influence and persuasion of your parents, like coming up to Christmas, or coming with your birthday, you'd be asking for something, whatever it may be. And, your influence and persuasion would be very just basically blunt force. Be like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. Please buy this, please buy this, please buy this, please buy this. And that was your form of influence and persuasion. It was just repetition and, just straightforward bluntness. I want this, please get it for me. I want this, please get it for me. As you get a little bit older, you might be starting to influence the other sex, the other, if you're a male or female, or might even be the same sex. So influencing somebody else for, because you want to date them. So you'd have to influence and persuade them to, go out with you. Then as you got older again, you'd have to influence and persuade people when you were going for a job. You had to influence and persuade them that you were the best candidate for whatever that job was, that you were better than the other, you were a better choice than the other people. That required influence and persuasion. Then, as you got older again, it might be the promotions. It might be a new job. It might be you started your own company or business, and you've got to influence and persuade other people to work for you. It might be something as simple as asking the person you love to marry you. There's so many areas where influence and persuasion has a place. Just people never realized it. It literally is in everything in life, no matter what your job or profession is. Everyone from the person that cuts your grass, that they have to influence and persuade you that they're going to charge you a price, and that price is worth the result that they're going to produce. Where you might be in sales and marketing, and where influence and persuasion is very obvious. But in other words, other areas where it might not be so obvious might be jobs for example, a mechanic. A mechanic needs to influence and persuade and use sales tactics in a positive way to encourage you to continue returning there for business, to be a repeat customer. See, because influence and persuasion isn't always something that some people sometimes associate as a negative thing. Some people associate as that you're manipulating a situation with malicious intent. It's not the case at all. A great example is that if you have a child and you take them to the doctor, the doctor will use influence and persuasion to make the child feel comfortable, to make the child feel like they're safe. They've got to influence and persuade them that they're in an environment where they're not going to be harmed or hurt, and that talk about whatever it is their problems is. You go to the dentist, same thing. When you go to daycare for the first time, or kindergarten, or preschool, prep, influence and persuasion to have the child stay there, and then how it really is in everything in life. So the ability to persuade is the single most important skill you can learn, because it has an effect in every area of your life. The reason why you might get a discount when you go to buy something, the reason why you're able to get speedier service, the reason why you're able to make something happen is through persuasion. And if you're able to persuade someone more effectively, then you're able to achieve and accomplish better results. So part of that is understanding goal-orientated communication. You're communicating with that person to achieve a goal. And again, that's not negative or malicious. You might want that person to, if you're a PT, your goal-orientated communication is you want that person to put in more effort, even when they don't want to. So your goal in that conversation is to have them do what they don't like doing. So when you're communicating with them, you're persuading and influencing them to do more, even when they don't want to, with the intent of helping them. So with the goal-oriented communication, whenever you go into a conversation, before you go in, you have an idea of what you want to achieve. If you're going to, you're going to the checkout and they ask, how's your day? Their goal is to come across polite and well-mannered, When you go to say, buy a car, your goal is to buy the car. Their goal is to sell you it. Their goal is also to increase the amount of purchase, the amount of additions and add-ons they can add there so they can get paid more. So that's their goal when they speak to you. Your goal is to buy the car at the cheapest price. So your goal is to negotiate. You have an idea of what you want to do when you go in. That extends to all areas of your life. Whenever you're having any sort of communication, no matter what, if you're trying to pass someone, when you communicate, your goal is to pass that person, let them know normally in a polite and well-mannered way. So like, excuse me, do you mind if I sneak past? That you have a goal. So understanding that on deeper levels is that whenever you're speaking to someone, you keep in mind your goal so then you don't go off track. That way you stack your influence and persuasion because you're always moving towards your goal. You're not moving around it or taking unnecessary detours. So during communication, to increase your influence and persuasion, there's certain things you need to look out for. One of them is basically certainty and trust. The person needs to feel certain in you and they need to trust you. Like that'll be on different degrees or different levels, but there's whatever a person, if it's a scale of 10, whatever a person's number is, for them to listen will be different in subjection to each person. But they have to feel a level of certainty and a level of trust towards you before they're going to allow you to influence and persuade them. Then there's the logic and emotion. People make an emotional decision and then support it with logic. So they'll go, I really want the ice cream. And then, the logic comes in to support that decision. It's like, it is a hot day, I haven't been eating any dessert lately. There's all this logic around it that supports the emotional decision. But originally the decision is made with emotion and then logic. It's not normally looked at cold and calculating, going like, well, this would serve that purpose, so I will do it. It's very like, do I want it? Not, or do I really need it? Or like they look at it in that way. There's a real difference between the logical side of it of just going like, I require this serves that purpose, that plus that equals that. Then the other thing you need to look out for and understand is that there's 4 seconds to take control of any situation. So when a communication begins, when like a conversation begins, there's 4 seconds for either side, one or the other, to take control of that situation. So in that 4 seconds, you have to, if it's a sales conversation, you need to appear sharp. You need to appear that you can fulfill any of their needs. You need to appear that like you do know and understand exactly what you're talking about. The second one is enthusiastic. You have to come across as if you're worth listening to. That whatever it is you want to say and speak about is worthwhile listening to. That like it's entertaining, it's engaging, and it's not dry and boring. Then the next thing you need to talk about, the next thing you need to look out for is you need to be an expert. You need to come across as if any problem they have, you have the solution for it. You know this back to front. Any way they asked it, any way they positioned it, you'd be able to handle it. And that all needs to happen in the first 4 seconds. So that means, great examples in sales, whenever somebody goes like, oh, I'm thinking about getting this one. Immediately you have to take control of that situation and go, absolutely, this product here I think is going to be great for you. This is why you should have this product. Do you ever have this sort of problem? Oh, yes I do. This here's going to solve that problem for you. And let me tell you a little bit more about why I think you should have this one. And just because we're friends, I'm going to do a great deal for you. Everything about that was all about looking sharp, enthusiastic, and an expert. You had to do that in the first 4 seconds, and that person's certainty and trust had to increase to a level where they felt ready to be influenced and persuaded by you. They had to then look at the situation and then look at it and go like, yeah, I do like it. And then they'll add all the logic and go, and these are the reasons why I should get it. Because, I need it for this reason and that sort of thing. So all of it comes together. So speaking of coming together, to quickly summarize on everything I just spoke about here, this is all about understanding, the way of the wolf is all about understanding influencing and persuasion. It's about understanding that everything in life is some form of influence. That the ability to persuade is the single most important skill you can learn. Because No matter what area of your life you look at, there is always some form of persuasion or influence involved. You've got to start to understand that every conversation, every communication you have, there has to be a goal behind it. Goal-orientated communication. You've got to know where you want to go and take the steps to move forward that, and you'll become a more effective communicator. You need to understand that that person has to reach a certain level or degree of certainty and trust in you before they feel open and ready to be influenced or persuaded. Before that, they'll probably just be skeptical. Understand that people always make a decision out of emotion and then they add logic afterwards. Then understand that you've got 4 seconds to take control of any situation. And in that 4 seconds, immediately, as soon as that 4 seconds begins, you need to appear sharp, enthusiastic, and as an expert. By conquering all of that, by putting all of that together, you'll have understand the way of the wolf. Now, we're going to make a lot more of these videos with this training series to help you with your personal development goals. That's all for now, though. So until next time, leave a comment below on what you like the most, and look forward to sharing more with you in the next episode of Harry's Highlights.